You have to assume that you already have a rapport with them. And eventually you do have a rapport with them. I was going up my elevator in my apartment building and somebody got in there with me and they're like, "Are you Jeff from Tic Toc?" I was like, "Oh, I am." And they're like, "I love what you do. I'm Libby. It's so good to see you. I'm on the third floor." And we already have this rapport.
This is Rebel Therapist, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are trained as therapists and who want to level up their businesses, make a bigger impact, feel fulfilled, and be very well paid. I'm your host, Annie Schusler. I invited my pal Jeff Guenther back on Rebel Therapist because I've noticed two things he's been doing brilliantly well in his marketing. Not only is he great at marketing, but he's also really honest and willing to take you behind the scenes and give you zero bullshit as he explains what he does and why he does it. So I'm going to expect you to listen to everything he's sharing here and borrow the parts that might work for you in marketing your incredible and unique business. So I don't bury the best part here. Due to how Jeff has been using TikTok, his company TherapyDen has had a 50% increase in therapy referrals. That is absurdly high in terms of a return on his time investment. Before we get there, I'm going to share more about him. Jeff Guenther is a therapist in Portland, Oregon. He's been in private practice since 2005 and currently leads workshops on how health and wellness practitioners can build their digital brand and attract more clients online. Jeff is the creator and owner of two highly ranked therapist directory sites, Portland Therapy Center and TherapyDen. Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
So, okay, let's get into these emails. So in your TherapyDen emails, you speak really boldly. And one example is in a recent one. This is going to be coming out in February, but recent to when we're talking, you wrote this email with the subject line, "All my clients," and all in like, I'll just read it. "All my clients feel like shit and there is nothing I can do about it." And then I'm just going to read one small snippet from this email. You write, "And oh my God," with many A's, "don't get me started on when we'll be, quote, getting back to normal. Remember that bullshit? That gave me and my clients so much hope. And for a little while there, I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Masks were coming off, shops were opening back up, and clients were flirting with seeing me again in person. Have I told you how much I fucking hate Zoom therapy?" Okay, and then it keeps going. So you're obviously like you're swearing, talking about things that you hate,
Mm-hmm.
taking a stand on things like it wasn't in here in what I just read, but you take a stand against Psychology Today and against BetterHelp.
Mm-hmm.
And I also notice that you write a lot like you talk.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I mean, not that you're constantly saying things like that, but that your voice is really like your voice. So I wanted to find out, what is the business purpose of your emails in terms of like, what does it help you? What goal does it help you reach? And then tell us about this voice and how you landed on it.
Sure. Well, I think, and I think you think, that one of the best ways to sort of like create community is through email newsletter. And I try to send a newsletter once a week. I'm not always successful every week, but most weeks I am. So the point is going ahead and trying to create a community and find people that sort of like vibe or resonate with my message and my voice and what I'm putting out there. And when you have a newsletter community with many thousands of people subscribed, you can then ask them to take action, whether that's signing a petition about how much we don't like something about Psychology Today, or asking them to create a free profile, or asking them to send a donation, or asking them to do something. It's like such an intimate way to communicate with people when you drop right into their inbox. So I'm intimately connected. I get to create a community, and every now and then I can like influence them to take action. And the main action for my TherapyDen newsletter is typically, "Hey, do you want to sign up and create a profile?"
So you've got a lot of people on your email list who are not yet in TherapyDen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's see, maybe half of the people, probably.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why I was assuming that they would have started profiles at the same time.
I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, many of them have profiles. Some of them started a profile but didn't complete their profile. And also the purpose, I guess maybe one of the main purposes of this is to like write. So I write a newsletter and it connects to a blog. And you can click on the link to go read the blog on the TherapyDen website. And then those therapists that really have feelings about whatever I wrote, whether it's good feelings or upsetting feelings, they usually post it on social media somewhere, and or they share it with their private face like therapist group. So I'm getting like sent into all of these private therapist groups because of the things that I'm writing, and those folks are reading the blog on TherapyDen, and that's how they learn about TherapyDen. So all of the therapists that read the newsletter like share it with all their colleagues. And every Monday, it's typically Mondays that I shoot out the newsletter, there's always a really big spike in signups. And that's because of all the people that are sharing.
Okay, this is great. Okay, tell people, I mean, I'll tell people at the end, but tell people now what the URL is for TherapyDen.
Yeah, therapyden.com.
Gosh, that's complicated. So,
and if you go to therapyden.com/news, you'll be able to read all of my rantings.
so then, so that's the blog.
That's the blog. Mm-hmm.
So this is making me think that I should always tell people to turn their email newsletter into a blog post. I mean, I do encourage people to do that, but what you're saying is really making me think like that's key to this process is they read the newsletter, they go over to the blog, and that's actually where they're going to be much more likely to share it.
Yeah, it's key to my process, getting people to just like land on the TherapyDen website so they can learn more about it and possibly sign up. And you may have noticed as well, like it's not uncommon for me in these little blog newsletters that I write to blatantly market TherapyDen. Where it's sort of like if you care you'll sign up, it's just sort of like really kind of in your face and transparent what I'm doing. I'm not even trying to hide it, like we know why we're all here. I'm trying to get you to sign up, but I'm also trying to get you to like read about something that I think is really interesting or maybe controversial, and that's where my tone or voice comes in. A big part of it when I first started writing these blogs and newsletters is that like I'm a bad writer unless I write in my voice. I don't know how to be like a good technical writer or APA style or, like horrible at writing all those papers in grad school, but really good at writing emails and also writing like the subject for emails, which we can talk about.
Oh yeah, I want to hear about that. How do you write those subjects? Do you write them after you've written the email?
I write everything. I write the blog and I put it all in MailChimp. And then once it's all done, I write the subject line. And sometimes that subject line is the same as the title of my blog, or sometimes it's different. It's usually different because I'm trying to be a little more hooky and get you to like open up that email. Yeah, I recently, a therapist told me, he was like, you know what? I love your subject lines in your emails because I know exactly when I want to read it and when I don't want to read it.
Yeah, so if it says all my clients feel like shit and there's nothing I can do about it, it's like, this is not this is going to be a great like commiserate moment. Yeah, you know what it's going to
Yeah,
be.
I'm writing a subject line that's going to like resonate with how you're feeling emotionally and hopefully with something that you haven't really shared with other people. It's just sort of like this secret feeling that you're feeling that you might not even feel safe enough saying to like your other colleagues because you might be judged or shamed or disagreed with or something. So I'm going to like tap right into that and be like, I see you. I see you. And I want to like really resonate with it. So I'm trying to kind of like get into what therapists are really thinking about their profession so that they can be like, yes, Jeff does see me.
Like stop reading my journal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to read your
So
journal.
then you have to deal with people's reactions to those things. Like what's that like? Like you're getting into what they're actually feeling that they're maybe ashamed to admit, but like you're admitting it. And then people sometimes get mad at you for it. So how's that?
Yeah, the vast majority are people being like, I feel so seen. Thank you. This is really interesting, or oh, that was really funny. But every week, there's always a handful of people that are not resonating with what I'm putting out there or think it's actually pretty problematic. And then I get to decide, what mood am I in that day? Am I in a fighting mood? Am I like going to have fun with this? Is this going to bother me if I like try to reply and get into a whole thing over it? So first I check myself to see, like, do I want to go down this rabbit hole? And I'll choose the responses so there's a lot of people that are just like, hey, love what you're doing. This rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm going to read those first probably because I did something to ruffle your feathers and I might not have noticed it. So like the people that decide to like take time out of their day to educate me, like I'm here for it. It's totally fine. It's the people that just like really disagree with me. If I'm talking about whatever, white privilege or internal racism or microaggressions, there's going to be therapists that are like, that's not a thing and this is horrible. Or if I talk shit about BetterHelp, there's a lot of people a lot of therapists that love BetterHelp and are very protective of BetterHelp. And they're just like, feel like I'm doing a disservice. And some of them have like really good points where they might be like, BetterHelp, one of the good things that BetterHelp is doing is that it's making therapy more accessible and easy to use. And that's feedback I need to get. And then other people are just for some reason really protective, and I don't know why. So it really depends on my mood and how much I want to engage.
Yeah, I remember when you did an email about Psychology Today and you were sharing some of the responses you get, and you also said to one of the responses you get, you said, "Hey, that's actually a good reason. That's a good reason to use Psychology Today if that's the reason you're using it." And like you're just in conversation.
Yeah, I got some emails about like, you know what, I'm a black or brown therapist, and this is where my like black and brown clients find me. Like,
Yep, that
I
was
ha-
the one I'm thinking of.
right,
Yep,
I
yep.
have to be
Mhm.
here. I would love for them to find me in all the other places, but if this is where they're going, then I have to meet them. I'm like, yeah, I'm so that makes sense, and I'm so privileged to be able to be like, I'm not going to be here, you know.
Mhm.
So I get it.
Okay, how do you get this done? So you do it most weeks and you usually send it out on Monday. When do you write it and how long does it take you?
Okay, the goal is to write it on Wednesday or Thursday, and hopefully it doesn't take me more than 3 hours. I wait as best I can until I'm feeling really inspired because that makes it go like faster and feels more fun and creative. So hopefully it only takes 3 hours, sometimes 2 hours if I'm on a real roll. I'm usually like scrolling through a lot of like private therapist groups to be like, what is everyone talking about? Oh, this gets me activated. I'm going to write about that. And then I send it to an editor who knows my voice intimately. And she just is mostly like grammatical mistakes that she fixes because I'm horrible with grammar. And then I put it in MailChimp, and that might just take like 20 or 30 minutes. And I send it off on Mondays.
Nice. So 3 hours total.
Hmm.
Do you ever like in finding that combination of being inspired but also giving yourself a deadline, does it ever kind of drive you nuts in those days between like Wednesday and Monday?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
It starts to drive me nuts when I feel like I've got nothing. I have nothing to write. There's nothing interesting going on, or I've said it all, or I can't think of anything else. And if it gets to a point where it's getting in the way of like other things that I have to get done, then I'm just like, I'm not going to write a newsletter this week then. I'm abandoning it. Like I got nothing. And so that feels like really liberating and freeing, which then sometimes frees up enough space so that I actually do get motivated about it late Wednesday night or something.
Like an idea can arrive.
Yeah, I just have to like make space for it by allowing myself not to actually write a newsletter.
Mm.
So, and even then, like, I don't always have to write like incredibly engaging content. I can find other people that are doing interesting things and just sort of like put those things in the newsletter. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you save up ideas ever? Like, do you have a place where
Oh my
you
God, yeah. I have a very long list of ideas. The problem with that is that like I come up with like amazing, they are golden, and then I look at it the next day and I'm like, this is trash.
Yep,
What was
it
I
totally
thinking?
happens to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in that list, there's always something usually that can get me going, and turns out to be good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I hate it when that happens. I look at my ideas list and I'm like, who the fuck wrote this? Who wants to write about this?
Right?
Nobody, not me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In a moment, we're going to get into how Jeff went viral on TikTok and got a huge return on his time investment. First, I want to invite you to register for Create Your Program. This is my 8-week process to expand beyond private practice. You're going to go from having an idea or even a bunch of ideas of what you'd like to create to actually launching a pilot program. And launching your pilot program is absolutely the first step to growing a robust business beyond private practice. This is a small group experience where you're going to get a lot of brave work done in a supportive group of driven and open-hearted and progressive entrepreneurs like you. This is designed to have you launching a paid program at the end of our time together or soon after. Participants are usually really surprised at how much support they get from me and from the structure of this experience. This is for you if you're a therapist or a healer and you want to expand your business. Go to rebeltherapist.me/create to learn more and register. All right, let's get into TikTok with Jeff. So, okay, let's get into TikTok.
Yeah.
So, tell us again about your business goal with this. Like, is this to bring potential clients to TherapyDen, potential therapists to TherapyDen, people to your practice? Like, what's the purpose?
The original purpose, well, so my Therapy Done newsletter and email blasts, and even my presence like in Facebook and social media is mostly aimed towards therapists to educate them about Therapy Done or make them aware of it and ask them to sign up. And I wasn't connecting with like clients, people that are looking for therapists very well. I started an Instagram, I started a Twitter, and I was just like, ugh, I'm adding content, but it's not getting traction. I think it's good content, but I just don't know those platforms very well. Apparently, like I'm not able to like build an audience as well as I thought I'd be able to. I have been on TikTok, watching TikToks for the last 2 years, borderline obsessively, like being like, this is amazing. I love this. I love these kids. I love this generation. I love what's going on here. And the TikTok algorithm is maybe the best algorithm anywhere ever. Like it knows exactly what to serve you. It tracks what videos you watch and how long you watch them. It like looks at like, if you like the video, if you engage with it, if you share the video, there's all these things that they collect in the background to know which videos you like, and then they keep on giving you those videos. So if you start to like all the therapy, mental health information, you're going to start to get like some really great mental health information. So it's like, okay, I like TikTok. I know how it's working. It makes sense to me. And I'm going to pull on my like really good ability to write subject lines for my email newsletters. Because with TikTok, when you're creating videos, you have 2 or 3 seconds to grab a viewer so that they'll watch the rest of the minute-long or possibly 3-minute-long video. So my like grabby subject lines that I make with emails, I use that same skill to create like a grabby sentences in the first 2 or 3 seconds in order to get people to continue to watch.
And those are things that you're actually saying, or those are
These are things I'm
the
saying.
words? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, can you give me an example?
Yeah. So today I posted one, and the first sentence was like, "Okay, TikTokers, we need to talk about your diagnoses because TikTokers are constantly diagnosing themselves." So it says like up top, "I'm a professional therapist." And I'm like, "We need to talk about your diagnosis." They're obsessed with their diagnosis, and now they get a professional therapist like giving their opinion on it. And also it's problematic in certain ways. Like kids are self-diagnosing them and they think that they have these really big problems, and maybe they're doing it because they're trying to be trendy, or maybe they actually really have problems and they're advocating for themselves. So it's like an interesting subject. Or what else have I posted? I say like, do you have an obsessive crush? Who doesn't? Aren't all crushes obsessive? Of course you do. So I'm going to talk about how to handle it, or three little things that you can do to not fuck up a relationship at the start. So, like just very like kind of, it can border on like listicle sort of things. I'm going to give you 3 things or 5 things, or these are the things that you should think about. But I gotta like really grab that person. And then if they like your content, they'll like it or comment it or watch the whole video. And TikTok will be like, I guess people are enjoying this. So it, blasts it to 100 people. And then if people engage with it, it goes to 1,000 people, and then 5,000 people, and then 10,000 people, and then all the way up to millions of people. So it keeps on testing how your message is working or how your video is working. And you get more and more video views that way.
Okay. So, and what I see you doing is like you're not necessarily trying to be polished, but you're very comfortable. Like you're like right there, you're very engaged, you're funny, and you're just like talking really fast too, which makes me think you kind of have to be able to talk kind of fast and get your thoughts out quickly.
Exactly. So yes, if you like highly produce a TikTok video, you do not seem authentic. Don't do that. Not a good idea. So it's sort of like this DIY. I'm holding this camera up to my face like it's a selfie video. I put it on a little thing, so it's just shooting right at me. But yeah, so don't overproduce it. Be really authentic, like you're talking to your partner, or you're talking to or you're like gabbing with your best friends. Just like, oh my god, sort of like
Like
feeling.
you start in the middle, like you're not like, "Hi, I'm Annie Schusler, and I'm gonna lose your attention right now." Yeah, yeah.
Do not introduce yourself. No. If you want, you can have your credentials and your titles like as a text up top if you want. Like that can work. But yeah, you're starting right in the middle. You're like starting at 60 miles an hour.
That's interesting. I wonder how many so now I have practice at this in, doing Marco Polos with some of my closest friends. Like, we do start the middle. We're not like, "Hey, how have you been doing?" We're just like, "Okay, you wouldn't believe blah, 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 blah."
You
Yeah.
are you have to assume that you already have a rapport with them. And eventually you do have a rapport with them. I was going up my elevator in my apartment building, and somebody got in there with me and they're like, "Are you Jeff from TikTok?"
No way.
I was like, "Oh, I am." And they're like, "I love what you do. I'm Libby. It's so good to see you. I'm on the third floor." And we already have this rapport. It was already there because they already have a relationship, or a digital relationship with me at least. So that's what you have to assume. So my followers I have like over 350,000 followers, probably a lot more by the time this podcast comes out. And if you go to my like TherapyDen profile page on TikTok, you can see that it says, "I'm not personally taking clients right now, but you can find a therapist just like me on therapyden.com." So there's thousands of people that are going to therapyden.com that are looking for a therapist every day. And the uptick in client referrals that therapists have been getting ever since I started the TikTok like 2 months ago, there's been a 50% increase in client referrals. And I was just
Holy
shooting usually for
shit.
like a 2% or a 3% uptick every month. All of a sudden, in 1 month, it went like over 50%. And it's been going up and up since then. So I finally found a way to get even more client referrals to therapists on TherapyDen, and I'm really happy about that.
Amazing return.
Mhm. Yeah, amazing
So,
return.
how long does each of these take you, and how often do you post?
Okay. So I'm aggressive about it. And that's
Mhm.
part of the reason that it's building so quickly and I'm getting a lot of followers. I post once a day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes the videos are 30 seconds and sometimes they're 3 minutes. Obviously, if they're 3 minutes, then it's going to take longer to make and I have a lot more to say about it. And that's when I might go and do a deep dive into how much I hate BetterHelp's privacy policy and how they're selling our information to third party advertisers. And are we okay with this? Picking fights, punching up, like against BetterHelp, is a great thing to do. Punching down, obviously, is never a good thing to do. You will get called out on TikTok because these Gen Zers and millennials like know their shit.
Yeah,
And
and I've seen you getting called out for stuff you didn't actually say, like where someone like misheard you or things like that. So, I guess you just have to get used to
you have to get used to it. And like we all say to our clients and ourselves, it's not about the intention, it's about the impact. So we have to like be very aware of the impact that we're having. There's been 4 videos that I've taken down because they were too hurtful, even though obviously that wasn't my intention, but that's how it turned out. So I try to be funny, and that's not the smartest thing to do. I do not encourage anybody, any therapist, to try to be funny. there was one thing where I said, here's like 4 low key things you can do to piss off your therapist, which was like how to piss somebody off was trending on TikTok, like how to piss off men, how to piss off yada yada. So I was like, this is how you can piss off your therapist. One, you can like ask them to change seats. I want to sit in the therapist chair. No fucking way. Or one of the things I said was you can Google your symptoms and come and be like, actually, this is my diagnosis. And I was like, oh my God, I have to spend the whole time debunking all this crap but like all the TikTokers were like, cool. So we can't advocate for ourselves. And if we think that you're not seeing us, then we can't do our own research and bring that in. That's kind of shitty. And I was like, that is very shitty of me. like, so no, I'm sorry. I apologize for it. I made like a response video of like, this isn't okay. I'm so sorry. And I took down that video. So you really have to have accountability. So be prepared for that. And if you joke, you're going to ruffle some feathers. So be prepared for that as well. I've gotten it down to like where I can make a little 1-minute video in like 15 or 20 minutes. But before it was taking a lot longer. And I have had literally, since I started this like a little over 2 months ago, thousands of people reach out to me to be like, be my therapist, be my coach, please help me. So if I was a therapist that was accepting clients or a coach that was accepting clients, oh my God, like I'd be so filled up forever. It's crazy.
Well, and this is what made me realize, like, when I read your email about TikTok, I was like, God damn it. I really need to learn more about this because this is a really perfect fit for folks who are creating businesses beyond private practice. I made that very negative just now, I realized, but I had a moment of like, I have to learn about TikTok. But I'm thinking this is really a good fit for people who are moving beyond private practice, partly because they can work with folks from anywhere. Like, okay, and we
Yes.
have an example. Your friend and my friend Heidi Savell, I got her enthusiastic permission to bring her up, that she works with poly folks, so people who are in poly relationships or other kinds of consensually non-monogamous relationships. And she's got coaching programs for those folks so she can work with people from everywhere. And so what do you think Heidi should do? She's got a new Instagram that is building, and she's got great posts going on, bringing up stuff like boundaries, alone time, jealousy, navigating like a poly mono relationship. So yeah, what should she do as she starts her TikTok?
She's great. She's really smart. She's really engaging. And she's starting to create really good content on Instagram. And she can take all the topics that she comes up with for Instagram or her newsletters and turn those into TikTok videos. So, first of all, she needs to kind of like show her authority. And in order to do that, she just needs to like talk on her like niche topics that she's really passionate about. Yeah, you're an authority because you're like a professional therapist, and mental health is trending on TikTok, and it has been trending for a very long time and probably continue to. So she's got that cachet already that she's a professional and that she has a mental health background, but she has to kind of like speak confidently about what she's talking about. So she can make videos about navigating jealousy in open and poly relationships or non-monogamous relationships, because like, oh my God, jealousy is like such a tricky thing to navigate and hold and figure out, and how do you react to it, yada yada. So TikTokers will eat that up. A lot of TikTokers that are into like how to start healthy relationships, and like new relationships, and like I've made videos about attachment styles just because it's such easy pickings. Like they're like people just like love attachment style psych 101 bullshit. I don't like If I made my whole TikTok about attachment styles, it would grow even faster than it is right now. So she might want to dip into attachment styles a little bit possibly. But making things about jealousy, how to like create boundaries, or if you should be in an open or poly relationship, the pros and cons of it. Like it might sound really hot and sexy, but is it? How to talk to your partner and your whole polycule. Like just sort of like getting really deep into the language, because like these kids, they're not just kids, they're millennials. There's people in their like 40s, 50s that are on there, but like a lot of them already know the language. And so if you
Yeah.
speak their language of using all the poly and non-monogamous terms, then that's authority and that's really engaging.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. It also seems like I could imagine Heidi really finding joy in this. You seem to find joy in this.
Hmm.
And it seems like if someone did not, like if they gave it a chance and did not find joy in it, it would probably not work well because it does take some consistent doing.
It takes some consistency, which is, if you're going to be consistent, it's best if you're like having a lot of fun and feeling really creative. So that will fuel the consistency, and there'll be like a nice little feedback loop that's created, because then you're going to get like a lot of comments and messages from all the TikTokers that are engaging in your posts. And then you don't even have to come up with ideas on your own, because they're giving you ideas. They're like,
Mm.
make a video about this. What should I do about this? They just constantly ask you questions and you just reply to those questions. It's perfect. It's like this really nice little thing that kind of builds and gets created for you. You just have to kind of like step into it and have a lot of fun with it. Knowing though, like I said, that you will sometimes step in it and make a bad call, and you need to take responsibility for it. And you're also going to be like, this is fucking ridiculous. I cannot believe that I'm getting called out for it, for this. And if you're going to be a turd about it, you're going to lose all your followers. And also, there's like so many learning opportunities here. So, like, why even be a turd? Like, so you got to kind of go in there really open minded.
Okay. That makes sense. I have a 12-year-old, so that part I would be well practiced at,
Yeah,
just being seen as a turd from time to time. So, okay, so like we're giving Heidi an assignment. I'm thinking like which she can take or leave, but I'm thinking like try posting something once a day for a week as like an initial experiment. Like to not, and of course this isn't just for Heidi. We have more listeners than just Heidi, but like I would think you got to try something for long enough that you can see it beginning to work. So don't just like do one TikTok video, which probably won't be the best one you do if it's your first one.
yeah.
And then just say like, I tried that, it didn't work. Like you've got to like really make a plan, give it a try, run an experiment.
Yeah, for sure. And probably longer than a week. But what I do now
Yeah.
is
Like
that
how long do you think?
a month.
A month. Love
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah.
that's because in those 30 days, you'll see if like one of your videos or a handful of your videos actually start to hit and start to like get a lot of views. And you're like finding your sea legs, like you don't even know what your voice really is yet. And if you go all the way back to the beginning of my TikTok page and you see like at least the first three videos, oh my God, that shit is so bizarre. What was I doing? Nobody was enjoying it. It was very weird. What I thought was comedy turns out not at all. And then I was like, okay, this isn't working. So I'm going to shift, and then I'm going to shift, and then I'm going to shift. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 weeks until I was like, now I know what my voice is. Now I know who my audience is. Now they're flooding me with questions, and I know what to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and make 10 videos in the next 2 days. So I'm going to batch those videos and I'm just going to release them every day. And I'm going to do a second video in that day if somebody asks me a question that I just want to respond to right away. If I got something to say and I got 30 seconds, then I'm going to go ahead and do like a real DIY. This is not professional at all. And be like, oh my God, you're so right. Or have you thought about this way? And so those are kind of like even more engaging. I like keep it going all day long if I want.
Oh, so fun.
Hmm.
So, okay, people have been taking action besides just watching you on TikTok. They've been taking action and going over to TherapyDen to look for a therapist. If somebody is in like my situation or Heidi's situation, where like what she would want would be for them to go over to her website, how do you encourage people to go from TikTok over to your website?
Yeah. So Heidi would be saying something like, "Oh my God, jealousy is so hard to handle, even when you're in these open and poly relationships. And I know it's really hard, like empathize, empathize, empathize with the client experience." And then being like, you know what, and this is what I do. This is how I handle it, and this is how you can handle it, and these are the things that you can work on. Oh, I'm running out of time, but I have so much more to say about this. I have a free course on my website. Go there. And you're going to do that not every single time, but maybe like every 2 or 3 days you're going to like have this call to action where you're just like, oh no, I'm running out of time. I wish I could speak more, but ugh, TikTok has a limit. So that's a bummer. So I'm going to send you over to my website where I have an online course, or you can sign up for my free newsletter. Or do you want me to do like a really deep dive? Then I got you. So you're you're doing them a favor by sending them over to your course or website or YouTube or whatever you're on. And you'll see on my videos, like every third or fourth video, I'm like, this is how you can help yourself, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and if you want to find a therapist, just go to therapyden.com. It's not even, it's so casual.
Just get really comfortable with it.
Exactly. And when you're listening to like a podcast or something, you can tell when it's time for the ad because it switches over to but when you just naturally integrate it, it's so much more powerful, 10 times more powerful.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this, you'll notice that we had a mid-roll in the middle here where I said, like, we're going to be right back with Jeff, where he's going to talk about, and
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, and there's no
Yeah.
time for mid-rolls in TikTok videos.
No.
So you just gotta like naturally, and on your TikTok sort of like profile page, you get just a little space to write a sentence and link to something. So Heidi is going to be linking to her like free email course or whatever she's trying to send people to.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and she does have stuff about jealousy there.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm on a podcast, like a mental health podcast, and I'll like make a video about like, oh, these are the 3 things that we talked about on like how to take it slow when you first start a relationship, A, B, and C. And oh my God, I have so much more to say about this. Listen to this podcast that I'm on this week.
Okay, one more question. How many hours do you work?
I've gotten really good at batching everything. So all my TikTok videos or the blogs that I have to write, or even my clients, squeezing them into Mondays and Tuesdays. I squeeze everything in so that I can have a lot of room to either not work or do a lot more work if I'm feeling super inspired. So on a typical work week, I have to work at least 20 or 25 hours to get all the stuff done. I can work 40 or 50 hours if I really actually wanted to. So, yeah, I only have like 20 or 25 hours now, but I routinely go over that because I really enjoy what I do.
I love that. Yeah, I can tell, like, whenever I talk to you, I can tell that you love this. Like, this is really fun for you.
Hmm. It is, yeah, and I get to be my authentic self, which is the only self I know how to be, but it's also like that is what attracts everybody. All the people on TikTok or all the therapists on my newsletter or even my clients that I see in person like or online, like I'm just being boldly who I want to be. And whether you agree with me or not on certain things, it's just refreshing to be with somebody that's really honest. Oh, one more thing before we go, which could maybe be like a whole other podcast, but I'll be real quick about it. When I did start going viral on TikTok, there was a moment where like one video was like went viral, and that one was about like 5 questions that you should ask your therapist that clients they never fucking think about asking questions of therapists. So that was interesting for TikTokers, and then a bunch of other videos went viral after that. And 5 of my clients came in that week and they were like, so I was scrolling through TikTok and all of a sudden my therapist is on my front page.
Oh God.
I wish I would have. I wish I would have handled that differently.
Mm.
I was not expecting it. I should have expected it, and so I was just like, "Oh, how was that for you?" Because like part of the some of the videos that went viral that they saw was about me being like, "You want to know what therapists really think?"
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
And so they were like, "What are you really thinking about me right now?" What? And so I was like, oh shit, right. Wow. I feel like really irresponsible. And it wasn't anything like incredibly problematic. It was
No, it
just,
wasn't bad stuff. It wasn't.
no.
In fact, it was kind of great. Like when, like you said, when someone is saying like, "Do you want me to read these texts?" and that like actually what we're thinking is like, "Oh God, yes, please."
Yeah, like
And
I
that's really
cannot
reassuring to
fucking
people.
wait. Yeah, like just
Yeah,
spill a text. I'm like a little
yeah,
gossip queen. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but that messed with my clients a little bit because they were like, and one of them was just like, how about from now on, you just always tell me what you're really thinking? So I got to these like really, I mean, it was, good for therapy as all these conversations are actually good for therapy in the relationship, where it's just like, I might actually be thinking things that I'm not going to say. Let me tell you why I'm not going to say certain things, or I'm not going to come at you with the same energy. And also, like, that must have been so weird for you to see your therapist on there. And you didn't know if you should comment or be like, that's my therapist or not, or what confidentiality is online. And so I hope that you all make TikToks and go viral. But if you do, you might need to like let your clients know what you're doing. Or you might just want to make it like super educational. Still be authentic with your like energy. But I don't know, just think about your
Just think
clients are going to
about
see
it.
this. Hmm.
Yeah, assume it's gonna get seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if Libby from the elevator saw it, then yeah.
Exactly. Your clients will too. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you so much, Jeff. This was really helpful, and we got to coach Heidi and everybody else. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I love being on here, and I hope that I can be on here again in the future.
Yes, please.
Okay, good.
All right. Now I'm going to loop back and share some important takeaways that really stood out to me. Takeaway number 1, your newsletter is a powerful tool. And here's how Jeff increases its reach. In every email he writes to his list, he provides a link to his company's blog. People read the blog and then they post on social and they share it, which brings more people over to the blog, which leads more people to sign up. Now, if the content of his newsletter was not remarkable, then of course, none of that would work.
All of the therapists that read the newsletter like share it with all their colleagues. And every Monday, it's typically Mondays that I shoot out the newsletter. There's always a really big spike in signups, and that's because of all the people that are sharing.
Takeaway number 2. For his subject lines and the emails themselves, he taps into what his readers are going through and that they may not even be ready to talk about yet.
It's just sort of like this secret feeling that you're feeling that you might not even feel safe enough saying to like your other colleagues because you might be judged or shamed or disagreed with or something. So I'm going to like tap right into that and be like, I see you. I see you. And I want to like really resonate with it.
Takeaway number 3. With TikTok, Jeff uses that same skill of tapping into what his readers are thinking and feeling to grab the TikTok user's attention quickly.
Because with TikTok, when you're creating videos, you have 2 or 3 seconds to grab a viewer so that they'll watch the rest of the minute-long or possibly 3-minute-long video. So my like grabby subject lines that I make with emails, I use that same skill to create like a grabby sentences in the first 2 or 3 seconds in order to get people to continue to watch.
Takeaway number 4. Jeff talks on TikTok in a way that assumes he already has rapport with the viewer. He doesn't overproduce these videos and he doesn't start by introducing himself.
Don't overproduce it. Be really authentic. Like you're talking to your partner or you're talking to or you're like gabbing with your best friends. Just like, oh my God.
Takeaway number 5. In order to get a big return from your TikTok investment, you're going to need to post a lot. Jeff posts once a day or sometimes more. He didn't get a lot of traction in his first videos, and he doesn't think that those ones are very great. It takes time to get good at this.
I'm aggressive about it, and that's part of the reason that it's building so quickly and I'm getting a lot of followers. I post once a day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes the videos are 30 seconds and sometimes they're 3 minutes.
You can find out more about Jeff Guenther at therapyden.com, and you'll find him on TikTok as Therapy Jeff. I want to thank Jessica Riscala, our producer, and Cosmo Palms, our editor. If you found this episode supportive, please share it with your favorite therapist or healer, and that's how we reach more people. And if you could take a moment to give us a 5-star rating or review, we would be so grateful. All right, we'll see you next time.